Okay, now here continuing that, which I was talking about. That night, when I was driving back, I started to pay attention on those orbs and vortexes around the car because I knew that they were there to attack. When they are surrounding me like that, I start to feel like a accelerated heartbeat, a very awful pressure in my head. It feels really bad, like angusty, like agony, not agony. What's the word? It's just a feeling of desperation and pressure, anxiety that affects your chest and your head in a pressure. And you start to feel like you're not breathing well, and then you start getting nausea. If you look down to your stomach, you see there will be a lot of little demons hovering your stomach area because that's how they attack. The others on your head. The two main areas that they attack me: head, stomach, legs, mainly. So I was trying to protect myself by creating those circles of light around the car. When I then started to notice that I could see people standing in the middle of the road. And again, it was invisible, but it's that kind of invisibility that you can see. It's very difficult to explain. It's very difficult. I don't think it can be intellectual, you know which word I'm trying to say. Intellectualize. It cannot be intellectualized if I pronounce it right. You see the form of a person, but you don't see the person. You see the legs, the arms, the head, but has no surface. It's like the predator, almost like the predator when he's invisible, but without all that watery motion. So I saw a bunch of them on the road, and it was like if they were getting prepared to run after the car once the car would pass by them, or jump on the car, and that's what they started to do. And I would feel the impact of their body towards the car, like they would be running and then suddenly jump into the car. They would do that to get inside. So I was like, fuck, what do I do? So I started to speed and creating the circles of light. At the same time, that one star that I was going to mention earlier and then I stopped, one of the brightest ones usually, the same one that I had mentioned to the cashier at the gas station where I was, this I mentioned yesterday, and this star was having a different behavior and an excessive bright in colors. Okay, so that star all of a sudden is slowing, is coming down, and the brightness of it becoming more and more intense. And I was like, this is not possible, but I am seeing it. And the star continued to come down. And I wish I had been able to record, but now I have an iPhone 7 with only 16 gigs. It doesn't do anything with the amount of pictures that I already have. Anyway, so the star came down, and it was like behind the trees on the road. This was, for anyone who knows, this was on the 5 north. 5? Yes. 5 north. So he was hiding behind the trees on the right side going south. But he was moving, and I was like, could that be a post on those towers with a light flashing on the top? But it was a different brightness. It was not related, you could not associate with anything that we see here in the physical realm. It was a brightness that it can't be described. It was definitely not something physical. And then it was moving everywhere. So like, it cannot be a tower because I've been driving for like what? I drove for probably 15 miles or more with this thing next to the car, not to the car, but on outside the road, behind the trees, and sometimes above the trees, sometimes ahead of the car, sometimes behind the car. And then I realized, well, this is the star. I mean, it must be the star that I frequently see. One of the so-called watchers that Enoch mentioned. The thing is, why this thing also wants me dead, because it's obviously not here to help, because it seemed to be working with them against me. So I had the demons and beings in form of orbs and vortexes around the car. I had these people running. The car was driving like at 60, 65, 70, 75, even 80. And these people were running. And I could see them running at the speed of the car, trying to reach it. It's something completely out of the ordinary. And then there is also the beings, the gigantic beings or people. When you start seeing these things, we start living in a completely different realm, because it's just like when you're watching Avengers or the League of Justice. Those villains that we see, those big, massive giants like Thanos on Avengers, and the League of Justice, that guy that came to steal the box, Mother Box, I don't know what it was. Anyway, that's what they look like. I'm not lying. Those beings that come after me, they look like that. Luckily, and thank God, I mean, God is so amazing that he knew, I mean, he knows everything. So he gave us what we needed for those situations. People, we are strong. We are unbelievably strong. I mean, out of anything that you can imagine right now that I would be referring to about how strong we are, no, multiply that. God gave us, I mean, I don't know if it's everyone, but at least us, the 144,000 group, I mean, he gave us so much power that we would even question, I mean, how could, I mean, why do I have so much power? But we do. So those, I'll get to that in a second. I mean, those beings, those villains, big ones, and the vortexes and the orbits around the car, the invisible people running after the car and hitting the car, that star low, I mean, hovering the trees right next to me. I mean, I was like, I was scared. I was very scared. I did not know what to do. So what I did was I kept on creating that circle of light. Once you get used to the process of creating it, you don't even need to put your hands together. You don't even need your hands. Like on the beginning, you concentrate and you put your hands together, then you start seeing it. I'll give you the details in just a second. Then later, you can just, your head will control it. Your body responds to your mind. I used to do theater a long time ago, and the professor would say, "Oh, you need to train your instrument, and once you read the text, your body knows what to do." That's true, but guess what? That also applies to this science, this phenomenon that we are living. All the things that I have been learning, that I have been taught by angels, by entities, by beings. I mean, angels, I would say, and God. They respond the same way